Stardrifter, a science fiction adventure game by Ken Kennedy. I've already introduced this. I've already taught the basics of how to play. Let's just dive in. But first, a warning. This is the spiritual descendant of games like Barbarian Prince. Whereas Barbarian Prince had about 5 or 6 tables to roll on, maybe a dozen, depending on how you classify it. This game has dozens and dozens and dozens. So don't be surprised if we spend a lot of time rolling dice. Those dice create the uncertainty and create the millions of paths that you can take, which ensures that no 2 games of Stardrifter are the same. This is the universe we are exploring, and out of the gate, these are the only 3 real planets that matter. These are the civilized, colonized star systems, as Ken calls them. They are colonized planets, but we are going to have a lot more interesting points show up as we play. You are a talented pilot with a nebulous past. You simply want to make your mark among the stars. I'm cutting to the chase. We're going to roll a d10 to determine where we start. See? And we'll use the standard hex encounter. We get a 7. That means we will be starting at 08, 06. Here it is. Here's our start. And because these are available as PDFs, we're just going to write on the map. When we want to play another game, we'll just print off another copy of the star map. Our hero, Chad Solo Jr., starts with 2 destiny points. These are rerolls, or you can use them to purchase specific actions, such as upgrading your ship's systems, or getting more fuel, but we'll get to that. He starts with a mind of 4, that's going to come in handy, and he starts with a notoriety of 1, 2, 3, 4, a notoriety of 3. We are relatively wanted. The fewer points on the stars, the better in the case of notoriety. He has a ray gun, which starts with a power of, we'll just call it 3 points on the star, and then he starts with lucre. Now, to find out his starting lucre, we have to use this table right here. We're going to roll a d10, and because we are fairly wanted by the law, that will determine what our events are. We're going to be using this column to start with our daily events, but first we have to figure out how much money we get to start with. And as you see on a result of a 4, we will start with 6 lucre plus a destiny point, so we will have 3 destiny points. And again, we're going to be using pennies for lucre. Our starship, the Century Hawk. There you go. We got a name now. I should point out, we start out with no damage for us, no damage for our ship, and our prowess is going to be equal to whatever our damage is. We start at a prowess of 4. That will come up. We do have an enemy ship. Oh, wait, this is the enemy ship's roster. Oops, let me get my ship's roster. It looks a little something like this. As they say on Red Letter Media, that's staying in. All of your systems start as basic, but we do have to roll a d10 for our starting fuel, which will be 10 fuel cells plus another d10. 18. You love to see it. It costs 1 fuel cell to move 1 hex when your thrusters are at the basic minimum. If we upgrade those to a D4, then we'll move D4 hexes for 1 fuel. Since we have the extra destiny point, we can opt to make our first action upgrading either our ship's cannons or our thrusters. Or, wait, does that cost 2 destiny points? Is that what the 2 stands for? We're not done rolling. Oh, no, wait, we are done rolling for, I think we're ready to go. I think that's it. Is there anything else you guys want to know? This is an important roster. This tells us where our sectors of interest are, and we need to keep track of that. Our mobility will depend on how much damage our ship has taken. If we take, and damage does stack. So 1 light damage doesn't really have much effect. But when we take 2 light damage, that's the same as medium, and our cannons get worse. Our mobility gets worse, and there's a chance that we take additional damage. There are critical hits in this. I think we're good, man. Star points. This is what we're trying to do. We got to find 10 of them, and it might take a while. Let's find out. As I said, we are starting off in this hex, and let's go to the starport first. We'll burn a fuel, and then we roll for an event. We were at 18, we go to 17, and we roll on our event chart, which is always a percentile dice. So with a result of a 75, we have high notoriety. We go down to 75, and that's going to be event 240. Distress signal. You pick up a distress signal coming from a planet in an adjacent hex. Roll a d6 to determine which direction you go. Conveniently enough, I rolled a 6. Here, it's to the northwest. You can go to the planet, or you can ignore it. If you go to the planet, move to the determined adjacent hex of the signal, and that's E024. If you ignore, well, we're not going to ignore it. We're heroes. We're trying to increase our notoriety to be not quite so wanted by the law. Since we're going to do that, move to the determined hex, which is to the northwest. Conveniently enough, our compass rose has those same values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are now in hex 7, 6. We don't have to record that, though. What we do need to look at is event 024. There's a distress signal coming from somewhere on this planet's surface. Roll a d10. This'll do. I got a 9. I know it says 90. We'll divide by 10. It's fine. And on a result of a 9, the distress signal is coming from a crashed escape pod. You land your ship and investigate the escape pod. Lucre, we roll on the 6-pointed star for Lucre. We are doing a little bit of salvage here, fellas. On a result of a 6, we are going to find value of 12 Lucre. And not only that, but we have to go to event 076. Our Lucre goes from 8 to 20, and event 076, Survivor. You find a lone survivor, roll a d10, and already you can see we have charted out, what is it, in addition to the like 50 events on the event table, we've had a d10 and d10. We're up to 5,000 different possibilities. On a result of a 1, it is a haywire robot that immediately attacks. Rule 110, you see here in the blue, initiative talks about the combat tables. What's important for us is that the robot has a prowess of 3, it has a 6-pointed laser, and if we win, we get 3 Lucre. The haywire robot encounter lists Rule 110C to check initiative. Notice in a clever bit of design that Ken has given us multiple different encounter types. Perhaps we get ambushed and we have to roll on the most difficult chart with a mind check at -2. In our case, it's fairly middle of the road. We are rolling on the 4-pointed star of difficulty at a mind -2. Our mind is 4, of course. And so with a 9 we get to add 2. Subtract the 2, then add our 4 mind, we get an 11, and that, on the 4-pointed star, is going to be a success. Here it is in black, it's on the skill chart here. A 5 or better would allow us to succeed. Oh, my destiny point no, I'm at 3 destiny points, that's right. We succeeded, we get to shoot first. We will be firing on the easiest level, but we have a +1 to our check. Our prowess is 4. His prowess is 3. Sometimes I don't even know why I have this one on here. I just went ahead and circled the ray gun to make it easy. The difference between our prowess gets added to our score subtracted from the haywire robots. I get a 9 on my first attack, and that means I do medium damage. So the robot already is at an additional -1. When he rolls, he will now be at a total of -2. A 6 -4, but bear in mind, because he's rolling on the 6-pointed star, he only needs a 5 to hit, where I need a 6. He rolled a 6, -2 is 4. He has missed us, meaning we get to attack him, and with a result of a 10, we are going to do heavy damage. The damage stacks. Heavy damage is basically 1, 2, 3 points of damage. We go 1, 2, 3, and we have destroyed the robot. Going back to that entry, we get to roll on the Lucre table. Remember, we already soaked this cat for 12 damage, or 12 Lucre. I'm assuming that we are salvaging what we can out of the escape pod. A result of a 4 on the 3-pointed Lucre table means we get an additional 2, and we get +1 destiny point to a maximum of 4. That brings our destiny points up to, well, it brings our cash reserves up to 22, and it brings our destiny up to 4. Remember, we got 1 just for responding to this distress call. That's now the end of day 1. We don't have to keep track of days. There is no time limit on this. You go till you get 10 star points or you die. For day number 2, I want to spend a couple of destiny points. Well, you can only spend 1 at a time. The first thing I want to do is upgrade my weapon. I don't like that my ray gun is only at 3 stars. So our daily activity will be Event 101, you tinker with one of your weapons. We're going to roll a d10. Before I do that, I should point out, if you're using the PDF, all of these blue numbers are hyperlinked. It makes it really easy to track where you're going back and forth. In hard copy, we roll a 7. Your tinkering was a success. Weapon upgraded 1 star. So we now have a double-barreled ray gun. And when we roll on our combat checks, instead of hitting on a 6, we will be hitting on a 5. We also, that upgrades our chances of doing, oh no, it doesn't. It just means that we have 1 extra light damage. Hey, I'll take it. Then we have to roll for our event. And on a 67, oh, it's on the same page. Look at that. How convenient is that? On a 67, we go to event 183. Interference. Your ship is picking up a weak distress signal. Due to interference, you will need to quickly move out of this hex to receive it. Roll a d6 to determine which adjacent hex you would need to move to for the distress signal. You can move to the determined hex to get a clear signal, or you can ignore it. All right, well, we'll do that. On a result of a 2, we're going to move to the northeast, back to our starting point. All right. And then I wonder, here's one thing I don't know. I think this is still the event of the day. So while we're tinkering with our weapon, we just wrap it up, we get the call, and we go, and I don't think that costs us a fuel. I could be wrong about that. It may be that I have to wait till tomorrow and then do this, and then do my event. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to do that. It's going to take a little more time, and you can sense I feel like I'm rushing this. That's one of my personal foibles when it comes to solo games. I'm so excited to find out what happens next that I tend to go a little too quick, and sometimes I make mistakes, but that's okay. We'll go a little slower to help you guys follow. And if you ignore the distress signal, so as I said, we're going to move back to the starting hex, and then we go to event 004. Distress call. Your ship's scanners have picked up a distress signal. Roll a d10. On a result of a 5, you try to pinpoint the signal. We have to pass a mind skill test at -1. That is an effective +3. It's going to be on the difficult table, but we get a 12. So if we pass, and as you see, on the 6, a 12 is on the 6, a 12 is you totally passed. Roll a d4. So many nested tables. And on a result of a 4, we get roll result 10. And this happens quite frequently in this game. If you get very successful, you drop down the chart and you do something. Your ship gains d4 fuel cells. Free fuel, I love it. You can only buy more fuel at the colonized planets, by the way. Our fuel reserves will increase from 17 all the way to 20. Not only that, but we go to event 011. Distress call. You zero in on the coordinates of a distress call. Roll a d10. On a result of a 1, the signal is coming from a ship. Roll a d6 for the direction of the ship. On a 5, it's going to be to the southwest. So we go, we went to the northeast. It's right back on the planet where the robot was. And here's where the solo role-playing game comes in. Apparently the haywire robot dinged somebody else. Oh, but, okay. The direction of the ship is to the southwest, but I have to roll a d10 to find out, +2 to find out how many hexes away it is. So 6 hexes to the southwest. And on the one hand, we can write that down. Remember, we move back to the start, and then we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is our distress call. If we want to go check that out, we're going to have to fly down there. And here's where the record keeping gets a little bit easier. we're going to record on our character sheet, it's not on our character sheet, I'm sorry, it's on our ship record. At hex 2-9, we write down hex 2,9, and then we record exactly what we rolled, which was distress call E032. Distress E032. That's going to sit in our ship's computer until we reach this hex, which may take a little while, except that the event is now over and we're going to upgrade our ship's thrusters at the cost of an additional destiny point. We were at 3, we are now at 2, and we're hoping to get to D4 hexes per fuel. This costs 2 destiny points, taking us down to just 1, and as usual, we perform various calculations, make the roll, and on a result of a 0, incredible success. If your thrusters are currently 1, upgrade to D4, your ship gains D4 fuel cells. So in addition, they've become more efficient, and we are up to 21 fuel cells. And when we move D4 hexes. That is the end of our activity. Let's find out if anything happens as we wrap that up. On a result of an 11, we are still have a high notoriety. We have event 020. These events will include a lot more possibility of the law coming down on you. These events will also be more likely that people try to hire you out as a smuggler, whereas these events are a lot more stable. And in many cases, the events will say, if your notoriety is high, you automatically go to combat because it's the law. If your notoriety is low, you get little benefits. Maybe you get information. Your ship's long-range scan indicates a ship in your current trajectory. If you continue on your current trajectory toward the mysterious ship, move to any adjacent hex and go to E009. Well, we'll do that. We're going to move closer to our point of interest. Hey, it's free movement. We went right back to where we were, but I'll take it. I'm kind of flying in circles here. Be that as it may, E009, your systems provide warning and begin to beep. And on 8, it is a large freighter. You can raid them, hail them, or ignore them. If you choose to raid them, our ship is a zoomer, not a fighter. If you choose to ignore them, you lose 1 fuel cell, roll for an event. Let's hail them. That's for free. Event 238. And we want to know what the game contains. I'm not going to run from the possibility of exploring what is at Event 238. And this one I'm not going to edit out so you can see how quickly it is to just turn to the page. Not as quick as clicking on a hyperlink, but whatever. You hail a freighter and roll a D10. Get used to that. 3, they ask for help. They need fuel cells. Roll a D10 plus 2 to determine how many fuel cells. They need 6 fuel cells. You know what? I'm feeling pretty magnanimous. I'm going to do that. I will give them 6 fuel cells. And let's see, if you give them what they need, go to E165. Turns out 20 is the maximum fuel supply you can maintain, not 21, so I moved it down. We are going to go down to 14 fuel cells because we spent the 6 to help them out, and as a reward, we get to roll a D6. And on a result of a 5, their ship is hauling emergency supplies to an anguished colony. Gain D6 star points. Note, if we help these refugees, we could gain D10 star points. When you do this, there's a 1 in 60 chance that you immediately win the game, but we're not going to do that. So we are halfway there. We earn 5 star points by being a good guy. We are still at 6 notoriety, high notoriety. So we have now moved from villain to folk hero. How cool is that? Notice there are star points up here. You can play a campaign. Even if you get to 10 star points, you can keep going and see how high you can push those star points. Play the game multiple times. That's going to be the end of the day for us. And we will now move on our next day. We will expend the 1 fuel. We are now at 13. And instead of just moving 1 hex towards the distress call, we're going to move 4 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. So we go to there, and that means it's time for an event check. 67 on our event table for high notoriety takes us to event 195. Your ship's long-range scan indicates a ship in your current trajectory. You can approach the ship or circumvent it. If you continue on your current trajectory, your ship towards the mystery ship. Fuel regeneration. Your ship gains 1 fuel cell. Giddy up, we're going to take it. But you go to event 009, and I think this is the second time we've been here today. It is. We were here before. This is where we rolled the distress ship. So now we're going to roll a d10 and see if something else happens. It's a large freighter. You can hail them or ignore them. Again, I think we want to hail them. E238. But we do get 1 more fuel, so we're back up to 15. E238, you hail a freighter, and this time we get a large rotund freighter offers to sell you goods. You can buy a personal cloaking device, a thermal sphere, advanced thruster, or a ship cloaking device. Ooh, I'm gonna buy, I can't afford these bottom 2. I'm gonna buy should we buy the thermal sphere? Or should we just keep on trucking? I think we say thank you. Well, what's the lucre good for? Remember, we've got like 20 lucre. I'm gonna go ahead and spend the 7 and find out what the thermal sphere does, and that should end our day. E142. This may be a get out of jail free card. There are certain hazards in which it may come in handy. Under your auxiliary, this is a powerful weapon that can be used in character combat. Attempt a table B, prowess -1. Any damage level will be dealt to every opponent. Oh, we got a grenade. We got ourselves a thermal sphere. It's a little baseball-sized sphere with a little thing that goes, oh, da, go, da. And then the gangster backs down because he doesn't want to get blowed up. It's hard to use. We know what a grenade does. Whatever damage we roll at -1 to our prowess, we are still, or we're at 1 destiny point still. Our mind is still 4. Our notoriety is still 6. And then we are going to we're going to burn 1 fuel cell, taking us back down to 14. That's going to put us at the distress signal that we've been working our way towards. I'm not going to bother rolling. I'm only moving 1 hex. I know we get to remove D4, and on a 2, we now go to, here's why we wrote down our sector of interest. This tells us, I would never remember that it was event 032, particularly when you wind up with 5 or 6 of these, you need to write down and record exactly where you're going and what you're doing. There will come a time where you have to pick and choose, where you will have different points of interest scattered all over the map, and you will have to decide which one is more important. You will find the connections between these themselves. I suspect that what really happened here is that we checked the ship's log on that crashed pod with the haywire robot, and we found out that he attacked these people way down there, and then we heard the little distress signal, and that's why we came out here. We roll a d10 to find out if that's what happened. If your notoriety star is currently crazy high, it's not, then the ship approaches you. It is but that's not. So in this case, it is a large starship. They don't answer any hails. You may investigate or leave. If you investigate, go to E013. If you blast off, your ship loses D4 fuel cells. Well, I'm going to go ahead and investigate it. I like investigating things. I'm a curious cat, and that may wind up killing me, particularly if I had the really high notoriety. That's not a good sign, is it? It's a Space Hulk. He calls it a dilapidated ship. It's a Hulk. We roll a d10 to find out what's going on with the ship. And on a result of a 2, the ship is giving off strange energy readings. It is not responding to hails. Attempt a mind skill test at -2. Well, I'm at +4, so this is a +2 altogether. I get a 5, and what is it? It's on the 6-pointed star. We need a 6. That is a fail plus. I'm going to burn my destiny point. I think I can do better than a 3. On an 8 +2, I get a 10. I have passed. And it says we've passed. Roll a d6 to find out what happens. The ship suddenly warps away. You gain D4 fuel cells. Oh, okay. Might have healed us. What else might have done? It's harmless. We could have explored the ships. That's not the case. We traded a destiny point for D4 fuel cells. I think it's a bad trade, to be honest with you. But at least we knocked that off. So we were at 14. We're now at 17. And we are at 0 destiny. We have no rerolls. That could be a problem. But at least we didn't get attacked on that ship. I'm going to call timeout. We've been going at this for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 minutes, something like that. We're halfway to victory. Oh, you know, I'm so tempted. Just one more turn. Let's do one more day. I still want to get to the colonized world so that we can take a look at the options that we've got there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move in this direction. We burn a fuel cell to move 2 hexes closer. Now we were here, and we go 1, 2 down to here. And that's why I like using the arrows and not just putting a marker on the map, because I can actually rechart what all I did. We have to roll for another event on the event table. We re-roll if you can't see it. I got a 39, and that's not cheap because I don't know what the other result would have been. E043. So I was wrong. The Space Hulk had nothing to do with the robot, unless that robot was, I don't know, had something to do. Maybe he was a refugee from that Space Hulk. As I said, we are at event 043, and that is a long-range scan. If you continue on your trajectory, go to event 008. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Straight at them. Audacity, audacity, always audacity. Your system's proximity begin to blink, indicating a nearby vessel. Please to be rolling a D10, which is under my book. All right, rolling a D10. Where you can see it, on a 3, it's a Marauder ship. Go to E058. Space Pirates, roll a D10. On a result of a 4, it's a Corsair battleship. It's a big one, baby. We're going straight at them. As you can see, it's got a prowess of 2. It's got frag cannons, which have a 6-pointed star, thick hull. Whenever it takes damage, roll a D6, and on a 1 or a 2, reduced by 1. So it has an armor save, basically. The initiative for ships is a little bit different from the initiative for characters. You use your current mobility. Our current mobility is 3-star, which is the easiest. We're rolling on our 10K. We're at -2 on our mind, which means it'll be a +2 on the die roll. We're checking on that chart. A 7, well, I got to roll where you can see it. I get a 8 instead, and because we're rolling on this, we have succeeded. Oh, we're rolling on this. We have succeeded with an 8. We get to take the first shot at this battle cruiser. I've already filled out its weapons log, as you can see right here. Without the benefit of a reroll, I'm a little nervous. Their prowess is 2. We're at +2 on the die roll. So even with our pukey little 3-star cannons, we get a result of an 11, and that's going to be the double Ds. We love double Ds here in the House of Wargaming, don't we, guys? Not only do we do devastating damage, kabow! Who got the drop on who? Check it out. With the triple stars, attacker immediately gets another attack. Oh, except we have to roll to see if there's a critical hit. On a 1, there is not. We have to make that additional attack. With a result of a 7, +2, we get a 9. That's medium damage. We have blasted the battleship out of the skies with some pretty fancy piloting, if I do say so myself. I actually put a bookmark in to make it easier for me to remember which event we were dealing with. Because once you are done, we've destroyed the Corsair. We roll a D4 to find out what our reward is. And on a result of a 2, our notoriety star goes down. Oh, down 1? What are you talking? We killed pirates. How is our notoriety going down 1? We have to go to event 005. Ken, I'm shocked and appalled at your design choice here, I think. Defeated ship. You are victorious in aerial combat. Now, we're down to 4 notoriety, moving in the wrong direction. But we do get to roll a D10, and on a result of a 7, the ship is disabled, and they surrender all they have. We get to roll on the lucre table, and it's going to be on this lucre table. So while we lost a star, we at least got a destiny point and $2 more. Well, I'll take it. You know, the destiny point may come in handy. We killed a battleship, and what did we get out of it? Bring our record sheet in here for our bro. Our star points go down to 4, and our lucre goes from 13 to 15. Now, we did have that grenade, but that's for personal combat, not for ship-to-ship combat. There you go. We fought a haywire robot. We saved some people. We explored a Hulk. We fought some pirates. There is a whole universe in here left to be explored by you. Make sure you go to Wargame Vault, pick up a copy of that. I'm going to call it quits right here. We've been going long enough. You get an idea for how the game plays. Tons of fun. Till next time, I'm praying for you.